The trading post on Varick 7 hummed with the usual chaos of a dozen species bartering, arguing, and navigating the cramped corridors between vendors' stalls. The air recyclers worked overtime to process the mixture of atmospheric requirements, creating a humid fog that clung to every surface. Nira kept her head down as she moved through the crowd, her pale blue skin marking her as a Telvan among the more robust species that dominated the station. She had come to purchase medical supplies for her colony ship, which orbited the nearest moon. Her people were small, fragile by galactic standards, with hollow bones designed for their low-gravity homeworld. On stations like this, they were prey. The first sign of trouble came when she felt the heavy hand on her shoulder. Nira turned to find 3 Kragath blocking her path. They were massive creatures, all muscle and armored hide, with tusks jutting from their lower jaws. The leader grinned down at her, showing rows of pointed teeth. "Little Telvan," he rumbled in broken standard. "You carry much credit, yes?" Nira's translator implant processed the words, though she needed no translation for the malice in his tone. Her hand moved instinctively to the data chip at her belt, containing the funds for her colony's survival. The Kragath noticed the gesture. "Give freely, or we take," another growled. The crowd around them began to disperse. This was the way of frontier stations. Violence was common, and intervention was rare. Most species followed a simple rule: don't risk yourself for strangers, especially not for a species as weak as the Telvan. She had no warriors to call upon, no weapons to defend herself. Her people had evolved as scholars and artists, not fighters. Nira took a step backward and felt her spine hit the cold metal wall. The Kragath advanced, their massive forms blocking any escape route. She could see their claws extending, long and sharp enough to pierce her thin skin with barely any effort. Her breathing quickened, her dual hearts hammering against her ribs. Then a voice cut through the tension, speaking in perfect standard with an accent she didn't recognize. "That's far enough." The Kragath turned, confusion crossing their brutish faces. Nira leaned to the side to see past them. A human stood there, of average height by his species standards, which made him significantly shorter than the Kragath. He wore a simple gray jumpsuit with various tool pouches attached, the uniform of a station technician. His dark hair was cropped short, and his brown eyes were steady as they met the gaze of the lead Kragath. "Human," the Kragath leader spat. "This not concern you." "Walk away." "Can't do that," the human replied calmly. He took a step forward, his hands hanging loosely at his sides. "Let her go." The Kragath laughed, a sound like grinding stones. Humans were known throughout the galaxy, but not for their physical prowess. They were average in almost every measurable way. Average strength, average speed, average durability. They had no natural weapons, no armor, no venom. They were considered unremarkable by most species, relegated to technical and diplomatic roles because they lacked the physical dominance of warriors. "You choose death for stranger?" The Kragath asked, genuinely puzzled. "She not your pack. She nothing to you. She's someone who needs help," the human said. "That's enough." The statement seemed to confuse the Kragath even more. In their culture, as in most predator species, you fought for kin or for profit. The concept of risking oneself for an unrelated individual from a different species was alien to them. The lead Kragath shrugged his massive shoulders. "Your funeral, human." He lunged forward with surprising speed for his size, claws extended to disembowel the much smaller human. What happened next would be analyzed and discussed in xenobiology courses for years to come. The human didn't retreat. Instead, he stepped inside the Kragath's reach, moving with a fluidity that seemed impossible for a species with an internal skeleton. His hand shot upward, fingers rigid, and struck the Kragath's throat with surgical precision. The creature's roar, turned into a choking gasp as his windpipe collapsed. Before the Kragoth could recover, the human's elbow crashed into his temple, and the massive alien crumpled like a building with its supports cut. The other two Kragoth hesitated for only a moment before attacking together. They had learned from their leader's mistake and approached more cautiously, trying to flank the human. The human rolled under the first swipe, came up inside the second Kragoth's guard, and drove his knee into the creature's midsection with enough force to lift the alien off his feet. As that one doubled over, the human spun and caught the third Kragoth's arm mid-strike, using the creature's own momentum to redirect him face first into the metal wall. The sound of impact echoed through the corridor. The entire fight lasted perhaps 10 seconds. The human stood among the three unconscious Kragoth, his breathing only slightly elevated. He rolled his shoulders once, then turned to Nira. His expression softened immediately. "You all right?" he asked. Nira stared at him, her mind struggling to process what she had just witnessed. Everything she knew about humans said they shouldn't be capable of what she had just seen. They were supposed to be weak, unspecialized, unremarkable. "I don't understand," she whispered. "Your species? You're not supposed to be warriors." The human smiled, though there was something sad in it. "We're not. We're actually pretty average compared to most species." He glanced down at the fallen Kragoth. "But we evolved on a death world. Earth isn't the harshest planet in the galaxy, but it's harsh enough. We had to learn to fight things bigger and stronger than us just to survive. We hunted predators that could kill us with a single strike, just like these guys. We got good at it because we had to." He extended his hand to her. "Name's Marcus. I work in station maintenance." Nira reached out slowly and placed her small, four-fingered hand in his. His grip was gentle, despite the violence she had just seen him capable of. "Nira," she managed, "I'm with the Telvin colony ship. I came for supplies." Marcus nodded. "I'll walk you to the merchant quarter and back to your ship. Station security will handle these three." He keyed his cum unit. Marcus to security. 3 Kragoth down in Corridor 12. Attempted robbery. Send a cleanup crew. As they walked together through the corridors, Nira found her voice again. "Why did you help me?" "You could have been killed." Marcus glanced at her, seeming genuinely puzzled by the question. "Because you needed help. What other reason would I need? But I'm nothing to you. We're not even the same species. By every calculation of risk versus benefit, you should have walked away." "Maybe," Marcus admitted. "But humans don't really think like that. We have this thing called empathy. It's not logical, but it's part of who we are. We see someone in trouble, and something in us just can't walk away. It's gotten us into trouble more times than I can count, both as individuals and as a species." They reached the merchant quarter, and Nira completed her purchases while Marcus waited nearby. Other species gave them a wide berth, word of the fight having already spread through the station's gossip networks. When she finished, Marcus escorted her all the way to the docking bay where her shuttle waited. "Thank you," Nira said as she prepared to board. "You saved my life. How can I repay you?" Marcus shook his head. "No payment needed. Just do me a favor. If you see someone else in trouble someday, help them if you can. That's how humans see it. We help each other because we're all trying to survive in this galaxy. Might as well make it easier for everyone." Nira boarded her shuttle and watched through the viewport as Marcus walked back into the station. She thought about his words during the entire flight back to her colony ship. When she made her report to the council, she told them everything she had witnessed. "The humans are different," she concluded. "We've underestimated them. They're not warriors by nature, but they're dangerous when they need to be. More importantly, they're dangerous for strangers. They risk themselves for people they don't know, from species they've never met. That's something new in the galaxy. The eldest counselor leaned forward. Is this a threat to us? Nira thought of Marcus's gentle hands as he helped her up, and the brutal efficiency with which he had defeated 3 Kraggoth. No, she said finally. I think they might be the best allies we could ever hope to have. Word of the incident spread through the galactic networks. The story changed and grew with each retelling, but the core remained the same. A human had stepped forward when no one else would. It became a pattern that other species began to notice. Humans helping strangers. Humans defending the weak. Humans taking risks that made no logical sense. Some species saw it as a weakness to exploit. They learned differently, usually the hard way. Others, like the Telvin, saw it for what it truly was, a strength that couldn't be measured in claws or armor or venom. The strength to stand up when it mattered, to fight when necessary, and to help those who couldn't help themselves. The galaxy was vast and often cruel, but wherever humans traveled, they brought with them this strange, illogical, beautiful compulsion to care about strangers. And slowly, inexorably, they began to change the galaxy simply by being who they were. One act of kindness at a time.